Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the selection process, right? I mean, those that are willing to, burn the bridges at the beach and venture out into the world are sort of a unique group within the larger context, right? Not, listen, not everybody is willing to open their own business and hang their shingle, right? The majority of people would rather keep getting a paycheck and have
That's
that
right.
security. So the majority of people aren't willing to leave their country and risk it all in search for something better. So already you're seeing that the majority of folks that do take that decision aren't as perhaps risk averse, are people that are willing, they understand what's in front of them, right? There's no one, like a friend of mine
Yeah.
likes to say, the only people that start at the top of those digging a hole. Nobody comes to this country and unless you're that 0.1% that you made it in your own country and you're coming here with a boatload of cash, the majority have to really work their way up, and they know that, coming in. They know that coming in, but it also speaks to how dire of a situation they had in the countries that they're leaving, right? When they're really willing to, wash dishes and clean factory floors 16 hours a day, 7 days a week with a smile on their face in order to have a shot. They still see this, and I think it's less so every day, but they still see this as, this amazing land of opportunity. I think those opportunities are shrinking, unfortunately. When we arrived in '67, there were ample opportunities for someone with a third grade education to find work in a New Jersey factory. Well, the majority of those New Jersey factories aren't around anymore. Those jobs have been sent overseas.
That's right.
So it's. I would argue it's even harder in one sense, easier in another than when we arrived. It's easier in that now you have a doctor that speaks your language if you're emigrating from a Spanish-speaking country. We were hard pressed to find a doctor that spoke Spanish in 1967. There's legal services, a radio network, television network, magazines, newspapers. You can get all of that in your language of choice. That would have, our heads would have exploded had we thought of, wow, that's going to be available one day. That was very foreign to us. But more importantly, you can live with all of that. What you can't live without is a job. And when you have a third grade education, you're not qualified to do a lot of things that, require a little bit of an education.
You're right. Things really are changing, and technology is speeding that up exponentially.
Exponentially.
And
I mean, you remember as a kid, right? Driving up and down, what was it, the Parkway?